welcome to this week's podcast. I think we're hitting, this might be 60 now. We're starting to rack them up, being nice and consistent. We've done a good job. When we're in town, we've done them every week. We haven't missed one. I think this week I really wanted to, we didn't have a chance. We introduced Jack the last time. We were in the midst of quarterfinals, and I think this is a great time to, just talk about the team and our Masters ladies. So we made some cool postings, I think, this week. Mike made a fantastic video with the team. That was really cool.
That was really cool.
That did really well too on our social stuff. As it stands right now, our team is, I think, in 36th place, and we've had some correspondence with CrossFit. It looks like the workouts are all getting checked off and approved, and we're 3 days from it being finalized. And as it sits right now, knock on wood, we're not in the top 10 or anything, so we got to be cautiously optimistic. If there's a penalty or something, that could knock us out. But that we would be making that trip back to the semifinal layer, which now is, I think I've talked about it earlier, is more like almost between the games and regionals. Is almost like that now. The funnel's really tight to get in there. So it's a really big accomplishment. These guys have worked really hard. And what I love about our team, and even our last team in 2018, it had gotten to where, all the teams were basically made up of coaches, trainers, or professional CrossFitters. Our team is Drake is a full-time coach here. And then outside of that, the other three members are people who come in, they train in our level 2 classes and execute the training programs, but they're not professional CrossFit athletes. They have full-time successful careers outside of CrossFit. So Julianne, Kiri, and Nate all, work demanding careers outside of the gym. And for them to stay at this really high level is really cool. Super proud of them. It's really neat.
It's fun to watch them in the gym and them all pushing each other, and they've got a really cool thing going right now.
Yeah, that level 2 program has really churned out some diamonds this year, and kind of segues into our Masters ladies, which is never a niche I would say ever like specialized in. But when I can zoom out, I can really see why it's came together. Women really like, if I can just very generalize, love group training. Oftentimes more than guys. If you go to like a yoga class or, a dance class, or like even like a title boxing or a kickboxing class, you're going to see a lot of women there. Whereas if you just go to like a straight weight room, like in an LA Fitness, it's going to be, around the dumbbells, it's going to be more guys. And the way competitive CrossFit has gone, in a lot of ways, is away from group training and a lot into this like very individualized, like app style, remote coach style training. And then, every local gym has that one person in the corner of their gym with headphones on who works out for 4 hours a day, kind of chipping through training. And something about that, I think individual design has a great place, and I'm not saying that it's not effective. I think in at least my vision for a gym and a training facility is for people to be, especially when you're driving towards a goal, like your why, it gets lost if you're just training by yourself. A lot of it, like when you're on a team, you want to belong and be a part of a team. It really feels like, half the reason, or if not most of the reason, is you want to be there with your friends. Mm-hmm. And so that's where that level 2 class comes into play. It feels like you're a part of a sports team again. And even like, our power hour, like you can execute training off of an app on your own, but like when you get in there with that group, it really feels different. It's a reason why I think, track is an individual sport. You have track practices where people are training and pushing together. It's not 50 people all off doing their own thing. Something about that group really, I don't know. It's very hard for me to put into words, but
I think it's really neat that like the Masters women have come together and, like you were saying, like the reason why, I mean, I really see it being a mom and working with a lot of other mothers, and most of those women are mothers, but it's just, I think it's really hard to have your identity outside being of a mom.
Mm-hmm.
And where, again, like a big gender thing, guys kind of tend to define themselves more by their career, where even though I have a career and I have my own business, I kind of define myself more still as a mom. So to have that like other outlet to be an athlete's really, really neat. And those women just come together and they kick ass
Mm-hmm.
and they're super strong and it's like their thing. And, it's just like them and their time and their thing. And it's, not another thing to define yourself, but just your outlet. That you have this other part of you, but then you can be very soft and gentle and caring. And I think that's a really good feeling to have that like strength coupled.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I got long-winded there. I think, what I've seen is they really enjoy that camaraderie.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've seen is with them all coming together and doing this, I was looking down at like their history of like how they have competed and some of them at other gyms and stuff. And you just see them all pushing together, like all of them across the board just had breakout years, crushed it, more so than any other year. And all of them, most of them have been doing it like close to 10 years. So it was really cool.
And what's cool is they're all pushing each other. It's not, I mean,
and encouraging each other.
They're competing against each other, but it doesn't feel like that. Yeah. It's really, really neat. Like they're all rooting for each other. Mm-hmm. They're all like trying to bring each other up. And it's really, really neat. And it's fun to watch them. We were watching them compete last Saturday and it's just like, it gets you fired up.
Yeah. So, right off the bat, as it sits right now, again, where we're sitting right now, filming the podcast, it's Friday. Marianne's sitting in like 16th overall, close to what would be a game spot, which is top 10, but that is comfortably inside that top 30, barring we don't have any penalties or anything like that.
When is that? When is everything
everything
finalized?
finalizes on Monday.
Okay.
So we've got a couple more days, but they've been reviewing videos and stuff. It's looking pretty good, but again,
so they just take this time to review the videos, make sure all the reps are clean. They have to watch a
lot of video, tons of video. And I mean, it's a whole nother podcast, but why I think CrossFit would be good if we could do more local things for like the quarterfinals.
They might be listening. So,
there we go.
Put it out there.
Yeah. So if we, say it like local gyms or, we could host like a quarterfinal. You were.
Are you offering to host if they do this?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think it would really benefit the sport. People would be more likely to go participate in a quarterfinal because it's a live thing you're doing. You're not just videotaping yourself. You would go compete. We'd have judges. I'm thinking it would be almost more grassroots, like old school, like how old school regionals used to be.
Yeah.
Kind of pre-Bach. 2010, 2009 era. You're enlisting volunteers, but when you would do those workouts, you'd be running in heats with people from other gyms and everything. You're doing it. And then when you do it, you're being judged live. And if you're doing, say you're doing a set of thrusters and, you're a little shallow in your depth, something's not going right, you're going to get a no rep and you're going to clean that set up right there and then, rather than like, you're
just out.
Yeah, you just give them a workout and you're like, hope this kind of goes through. We have judges and we have video and everything, but it's like if you're in a live competition, it is a much different thing than a judged video submission. They're not the same. They're not the same thing. anyways, getting back
I think it would just get more people involved. Like
100%.
5Ks. It's not that crazy for anyone to run a 5K, but
Yep.
it could be the same with CrossFit and competing if we had like local competitions that were fun that would bring people up and get them just more interested
Yeah,
in it.
during the pandemic, I don't think paying a $30 entry fee to do a virtual 5K and set
Yeah,
a watch and go out on
I
the
saw
sidewalk.
those.
Yeah, I saw them too. I don't think those were that much fun. So I digress. Getting back to Marianne, she crushed it. And the cool story from this is that handstand push up and clean workout. She crushed that workout, but her phone turned off and she didn't get a video for it. So a couple hours later, she had to redo it again. And that workout, I mean,
Cannot
you're doing
believe this.
strict handstand push-ups. Like your shoulders are fatiguing. You're getting yourself hyped to do a max effort lift. And she redid it and she did a little bit better on both the workout and cleaned more weight, getting warmed back up again.
I want to know what sort of pre-workout routine she has to get herself hyped to do that, because I would need like so much caffeine.
Probably fueled on anger from that video shutting down and having to redo it. Yeah. I think it just goes to like show like how prepared she was for everything and why she deserves to be there. And I think she's going to make some noise, in that semifinal. So she did fantastic. Megan Ward, I was just talking to her the other day, as it sits right now, she climbed actually once videos started rolling in. She started in 41st, again, not too far out of the semifinals. I think she's all the way down to 35th right now, as like some people's videos are getting thrown out and things like that. Right on the cusp of qualifying for
the top 30, and she's 30.
She's 35th.
35. Oh,
yeah,
5 more. Wow.
5 spots. You
hate to hope for that.
I know. And that's not super likely she's going to jump all the way into the top 30. That being said, what a year she had. She was like, she's very competitive with herself. And it's like, I don't know if I'm even going to do the Open. And like, we're like, come on, do the Open. She does the Open and then she murders that quarterfinal, which she's a very skilled athlete, great Olympic weightlifter. She's got great green muscle ups and can walk on her hand. She's a phenomenal CrossFit athlete. So I'm glad she did it and really got to show her stuff this year. I think the events were great for her to be able to showcase it. And it wasn't, just thruster bar facing burpee. Again, like those workouts are, they serve their purpose, but she got to showcase the things that she can do with all the gymnastics side and all that. And it was really cool to watch her, get a year where she was able to fully like express all the skills and all the work that she's put in. Gretchen is another one. I think this is the first year she's done the quarterfinal. I think she made it last year and she's battled through some injuries and was, didn't think she was going to do it. And then she decided to go through and do it. And like watching her, she was doing great, hanging right in there with, like Marianne and hitting some big cleans, and she really put it all together.
And it's fun to watch her.
She did great. Like I'm really, really happy Gretchen did it. And she's a fantastic athlete, and she's only been doing CrossFit, I think, 3 or 4 years now.
Is it really only been that long?
Maybe 5. I don't know.
Yeah.
But she's like, she's kind of stepped it up each year.
Yeah.
And
she's really worked hard to just accumulate those skills and get a lot stronger too.
Very cool. And then Maddie had a great season, put together a fantastic Open. And I think she ended up in the, right around like 80th place, in that 40 to 44-year-old division, which is a huge division, really competitive. She had a great year, and even that placement, I would say, like, isn't completely indicative of like where she is as an athlete. She competed in that Masters Collective. Like, she's right there with some of the top girls in the world at her age group, and she's just put together a fantastic year, and she had a great open, and she did great in quarterfinals. There's only 4 workouts to really completely showcase it, so she did great, and she took, I think she took like a top 15 on one of them as well. So she had a great year. I'm just really proud of that whole crew, and I hope they keep going, and they can maybe, I think Kiri, she's on our team this year. She's gonna, she was talking about trying to make a games push this year in that division, and then the opportunity for her on the team really kind of popped back up again, and she wanted to run it back on the team one last year. So
that's neat, because that's choosing to kind of be a part of something where you could maybe even go a little further on your own. Who knows?
Without her, I don't know. Like this year, it'd be really, really a stretch for us to break out of that quarterfinal without her. So it was really cool. I look forward to her, being a leader in that crew of Masters ladies next year, and making a run at the games as an individual, which I think, she's.
How old is Kiri?
Kiri is 36, so she'll be like starting to push towards the middle to latter half of that division next year. But her skills and her strength and all of her ability has preserved so well with age that, times are like on our side. Like
she just has a lot of pop.
She does. So she's still a fantastic athlete to the point where she's, competing in non-age division stuff at a very high level into her mid-30s. And she's been doing this stuff since, she went to the games on a team in 2010, guys. So that's a long time ago. And she's been in the games 3 times. She's been to, I think 6 or 7 regionals. She's done it, and she keeps doing it. It's really cool. I'm very impressed by longevity in a sport like CrossFit, because it's super hard to keep going. It's there's a lot of wear and tear. I'll equate it to something like football. Like, it's like, man, you got to get up for another season again. Like, it is hard to get your body prepared for something like that. It's like going into the Olympics every year. So anyone who can stay in that sport for 10 plus years and just keep it rolling, I have the utmost respect for you.
Absolutely.
It's really freaking impressive.
That's, it's also a huge just mental battle of not putting too much pressure on yourself all year, so you can relax and then come back. And how do you take yourself through that cycle?
Shout out to Julianne for doing the same thing on our team. She has been competing in CrossFit since about the same time. She's a little bit younger.
She was 9 years old.
Yeah, I think she just, she's over 30 now. But I remember coming to our old rogue gym up from up north, and she came there and she was like a teenager. She might have still been in high school or just out of it. But you could tell she was going to be good. And I think what impresses me more about with Julianne and Kiri and Julianne too, more so than just their skill when you see them, they're super impressive athletes, is Julianne is everyone she started with, no one's still going. Like, all her peers and all the people she was competing against, they're done. No one's still going. She's found a healthy relationship with competing. You're always on the nutrition side. We don't know her like super intimately well or anything, but like obviously with like fueling and eating, like she's very consistently just very strong and fit all the time.
But she's not obsessive.
No.
I mean, I've seen her out where she'll have a burger and drinks and not. It's really, really cool to see. And I think, a lot of it is probably like just not taking yourself super seriously all the time, allowing yourself to have fun. And then, hey, if I'm not like working towards a competition, I relax.
She has
the only way we can keep
she
going.
has times throughout the year where she is not like going bonkers. She'll take all levels classes. she won't be in like fantastic running shape. She'll take, a bottom third of the class in an all levels class, and she's not going to turn beet red and
She's
kicking
not stomping
boxes.
around
No, she
afterwards.
doesn't
She
give a
doesn't
shit.
care.
She's cool. She's cool to like do that, and she's consistently pretty humble, and she'll come in and, she won't have to like work herself into shape in the corner before she'll take a class. She'll come in and like, scale burpees on like an EMOM or something in a level 2 class. Like she's like, no way in hell I'm able to maintain 15 burpees on the minute right now. But that attitude, and like she has a better
meeting
attitude
yourself where you're at.
That's
not
why
fighting
she's still
yourself.
doing it.
Yeah,
that's why she's still
really
able
neat.
to compete year in and year out. And I have a ton of respect for that. I think it's super cool.
Be cool to have those girls on a podcast.
It would be, yeah. We could do that in the future. I think, talking about the longevity aspect is a good way to segue into what we're doing. So we're not going to have a podcast next week because myself and Kate are going to be in Colombia at Bioaccelerator getting stem cells. So this is something that got on my radar on the Joe Rogan podcast. I think he had Mel Gibson and his dad, or not Mel Gibson and his dad. Mel Gibson talked about his dad. He gets those stem cell treatments, but he brought a doctor from there. They started talking about it, and it really intrigued me. Longevity is something that I'm really into. Like I love running this gym, operating it, training in the classes, coaching the classes, being an active part of it, and not just like Wizard of Ozing over the thing. I like to be in the mix. Like we're going to be doing summer shred, leading it, running in it. We're getting older. We're in our 40s now, and we want to keep doing this for a long time. So we've been saving our money the last couple of years to do the stem cell treatment in Colombia. So they're going to give us some MRIs when we're down there. Kate's getting knees, an ankle.
Hopefully they remember my hamstring. I was going to try to get my hamstring injected.
Hamstring.
That guy's been bad for a long time.
And then I have...
face, scalp.
Yep. Shoulders, ankle. Right now my knees are bothering me, but that's not on my docket there. Face and scalp. And then they do a big IV one that's supposed to just help general pain, healing.
So this is primarily to feel better, but the face and scalp's all
that's going to be
stuff.
A cosmetic kind of thing for sure. Yeah.
But I mean, obviously there's kind of like just a general health and vibrance that we're hoping to get out of this, but to just feel better, like we can keep trying to kick ass.
Yeah. So they do, we'll get hyperbaric chamber treatments. They do vitamin IVs, similar to like a hydrate me type thing. They're just trying to do things to make you feel really good when you're there. They'll do some physical therapy with us as well. We've had consultations with like nutritionists about doing anti-inflammatory diets and things like that we're going to try and maintain. We're not drinking any alcohol around it. They want you to really stay clean, not drink alcohol, trying to cut back a lot on caffeine, just general health and wellness type things. We're going to document the journey and like what it looks like throughout the week. And we'll be posting things on our Instagram story. And I think we're going to make a highlight for it. So if you guys are like interested in, the stem cell treatment or anything like that, we're going to make a little highlight of it. So we'll kind of document like, okay, hey, we're getting MRIs. That's what they're finding.
And we'll try to put on both of our stories, tag each other so you guys can go to either mine or Brandon's. And then I'll see if I can put it on the Body Biz too, just as another place.
Yeah, I think, and just getting back to the why of it, I'm not looking to create any sort of like, what I would say is like supra or unnatural like amounts of performance or anything like that. I'm just trying to revitalize. So the whole thought process here is getting these stem cells in your joints and things to make them feel young again, or get back to feeling closer to what they used to. And again, I don't have like a lot of like acute injuries. Most of mine are wear and tear and chronic. And like, you know, I talked about it on this podcast a few podcasts ago where I tore my pec a couple of years ago, and it's gotten to where like a dip movement is really bothersome. And like in the open, for example, the movement that kept me out of doing the quarterfinal is I got to the muscle ups and I'm like, I'm not jumping on the rings. I'm not gonna get up there and do those. And, part of this hope is like they're going to inject that with some stem cells. It might make it feel better, and I might regain that capacity back. If not, it's okay, but that is like the hope for me, is to regain some capacity that maybe I've lost in some joints, or even the ability to do some of these movements a little more frequently, rather than like, hey, if I do some sort of like shoulder intensive workout, I need to put 4 days between the next one. And it'd be nice to, maybe it's just 48 hours instead of 72 hours for a while.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I've noticed that even like with jumping movements or impacts, like I have to really kind of watch that and space that out so I don't have ankle injuries or whatever. And I think it's good to always be mindful, but yeah, no one wants to feel like they're real fragile.
yeah, it's just to get some more durability and feel really good. And I'm going to invest, I want to invest in my health and my body, because it's cool to have stuff, or to, hoard cash or whatever it is, I guess. But I would rather invest that money in myself, my health, and my fitness, because all I see, the longer you live and the longer you see people when you're starting to see people you grew up with get old, you can save up a ton of money and you will spend right down to zero trying to keep yourself healthy and alive the last 3 or 4 years you're alive. So if I can extend that longevity and live a big life and physically feel really good and be active, that's where I'm going to put my importance on. So that's why we're doing this. And, we've mentioned it a few times, I think, maybe on the podcast or even to people, but yeah, if you're interested in it, yeah, feel free to like DM us or reach out. And I'm hoping to have a positive experience. So I'm already talking like it's going to be great. We don't know. I mean, hopefully we're not just cooking cash and burning it up. And it's like,
I'm still scared shitless of this whole process, but I'm doing it.
I've seen a lot of like athletes, and different people I grew up watching and kind of idolizing, and they're all beat up, and then I'm following them and they're going through this and really seeming to have a great benefit from it and feeling a lot better. So I'm hoping to get a similar effect, but we'll keep you guys posted. I think the last thing I want to just mention is Summer Shred. We still have the sign up sheets out there. We won't have a podcast before our first run of Summer Shred. It's going to be April 22nd on a Saturday, and it'll be at Antrim Park, at 8:30? And we'll be doing our introductory 5K. That's going to be a rough one for me. I've just been doing Power Hour for the last 5-6 weeks. So I'm going to get my butt kicked. The last couple years we've done it, we've been doing like the pump and run right before it. So I'm like, I would be completely dialed in, running some really good, strong 5Ks right off the jump. This one is going to be a good one to improve on this year. But it's cool. That's what it's for. So we jump in there, see where we're at. We're going to run for 6 weeks every Saturday, and then different places all over Columbus. And what's cool about it is it's going to culminate, and it's going to work really well with our Murph prep training cycle. And it's going to kind of culminate right around when we run Murph. I think we'll run our 5K on a Saturday, and then Murph is like on Monday. You're only going to have a day to kind of rest up, but you should be in some pretty good running shape where, running a mile and then doing your pull-ups, push-ups, and squats, and then running a mile won't be too challenging for you.
It's just a mile.
Yeah, it won't be too challenging for you after you've done that 5K on Saturday. You guys, we should be very prepared.
I know it sounds like a lot in like CrossFit terms, but like from the runner's world, I mean, you're running 3 miles, you're resting a day, then you're running 2 miles.
Yeah, it's not
like you're not running 20 miles, resting a day, and then running 13 miles.
We will be very prepared. And if you're taking classes too here, we're going to be doing some like interval running and building volume on the pull-ups, push-ups, and squats. So we're going to be very prepared for the Murph, but it's going to be great cross-training for summer shred. So we should feel more confident in our running going into the summer, where we'll have more outdoor running workouts, and we should feel a little more durable and ready to do that. But we will be off next week. We'll come back the following week. We'll probably just touch on how we felt with the stem cells, coming off it for a week. And
it shouldn't be instantaneous. We're just going to kind of take you through that week and let you know how we're feeling.
Like what the process looked like.
But then we'll be giving, I'd like to do, like, to add to the highlight reel, like a check-in just specifically for that every week. Because really, like, the most results that they see are between that first, like, 1 and 3 months afterwards, post. But there are several cases where they say like a year later, that's when people will really
something kind of fuses together.
Yeah,
there.
like it'll kind of be kind of odd like that. So, we're not, we don't know exactly how we're going to feel right away. Sometimes people kind of feel overloaded. So we'll take you through that.
We're excited to share it with you. We'll check you out. We'll catch you next time.